rough start there. Good morning. I'm Tim. Welcome to my channel. Here to have some fun. Gonna do some biceps today. Get the biceps curls going. Just the my favorite exercise. My favorite thing to do. So it's nice ending the workout week with that. Yesterday's was rough. I can definitely feel the squats this morning. So hopefully by the time I have to run around, it'll feel better. Just your average dad working out, having fun. Let's do this. Gonna start warming up with the 10 pounds. My allergies are like coming on strong this morning. Oh man. Thank you for the thumbs up. Appreciate it. Yeah, yesterday I was able to knock out my 3 sets of 10 with the 70 pounds. So we're gonna move up to the 75 pounds for next week. And that'll be fun. Very quickly gonna have maxed out like how many plates I have for my adjustable dumbbells. Just have to go buy some more plates or something. And I have to actually check and make sure double check how much weight my dumbbells can hold before I do that. I have this vision of putting too much weight on them and then just the middle part folding on my hands when I go to lift. I used to have this similar kind of thought about ice skating. I like ice skating a lot. When I was a kid, I always thought about what it'd be like if you fell down on the ice with your fingers out and just watching somebody slide over your fingers and then you just go lift up your fingers and they're all like dangling. That was like a constant concern of mine for ice skating when I was a kid. Still did though. I love ice skating. Alright, we're gonna grab the 20s. Definitely feel sore in my back too. A good sore, not a not a bad sore, but it's definitely feel tight in my back. Yesterday I heard I was like brushing my teeth in the morning, uh, getting my kids ready for school, and I just heard one of my kids like yell slash scream like super loud, and they came like running upstairs. So I dropped what I was doing, went to go check on them, and of course, like I'm like because of the way they screamed, like I'm thinking it's gonna be like something super bad. Like okay, like so I get there and or I get to them and I'm like, what's wrong? Are you hurt? Like what's wrong? And like, there's a spider. I was like, okay. Then I was like super irritated because I thought there's something like really wrong. I was like, hey, listen, don't scream like that for a spider. Are you like out of your mind? Like you made me think like something really bad was happening. And like, oh, there's a spider on the carpet. I said, okay, like we've killed spiders before. Let's go see this spider. And I'm irritated. We get downstairs and it is a significant like size spider. And we've killed lots of like little wolf spiders and stuff, but this is a pretty big spider. I had to apologize. Like, okay, listen, I still don't want you to scream about spiders, but I understand why you were screaming about this spider. But it was definitely it was a big one. But they still killed it. So I don't mind them screaming and being scared of a spider. I just want them to be able to handle it. All right. I'm going to switch to the. Normally, I'd be switching to the 40s. That's like what I've been working on. I was curious though. I've been thinking about how if I can curl the 45s or how much I can curl the 45s. So just for fun, we're gonna go to the 45s for a minute and see what I can do there. Just want to see. Oh, I got 45s. Alright, let's see how this goes. I saw a guy had a funny video on YouTube where he's doing, I think it was leg curls, but on it he said, there's a caption that read that crackheads wake up every morning and get busy trying to find or doing whatever it takes to get crack. Are you really gonna let yourself be outdone by a crackhead today? Well, that was an interesting motivational point. All right, here we go. Let's see what happens with these 45s. All right, that was a little bit of a cheat curl in the last couple there. Like I said, I normally go to the 40s. I just wanted to see what I could do with the 45s. Let's go down to the 40s now. That felt good though. Like I said, last couple of curls there was a little bit of cheating, a little bit of help from the hip thrust. Pardon me. All right, back to the 40s. Yesterday, I came across this video on someone's Ring camera. I'm assuming they're from Florida, but there's like a crocodile rang their doorbell, and there's like 2 crocodiles on their porch just chilling. And I showed it to my kids. I was like, hey, like, my kids are getting bigger, and they are excited about answering the door now, and they can't unlock all the locks because there's a top latch they can't reach. But you know, they're like wanting to do that on their own and go outside. So I showed them the video. I was like, listen, this is why you don't let strangers in. You don't know who's on the other side of that door. Still wait for mom and dad. I think it drove home the message good. So now they're terrified that crocodiles are gonna come through the front door. That's why I'm always impressed that people live in Florida or places where that's a thing. I'm pretty impressed with anybody that chooses to live around prehistoric monsters. You see the videos of crocodiles like crawling over big fences, flipping themselves over. Just insane. And I know there's people like, I think in New Jersey now that have like a lot of similar problems with bears. But I feel like you're less likely to be surprised by a bear than a crocodile. Because crocodiles blend and they're low to the ground. I feel like you could step on one without, if you're not paying attention when you walk out to your car in the morning. A bear, at least hopefully you'll see. I mean, I lived around rattlesnakes in the desert, like, but I think rattlesnakes are. Been trying to call this guy for days. Now he takes the call. But I'll tell you what, like ever since we put in our loan application for our house, it's been 2 days. Every morning at like 8 o'clock, all these phone calls just start coming in from all over. It's just people wanting to give you loans. It's really annoying. Oh, dang it. It's just 5. Went to my bank. So we have the down payment in my bank. We just sold our house earlier this month, and so like it's interesting the way you get treated. Thank you for the thumbs up. When you have a large amount of money in your account versus when you don't. And it's always disappointing to me. It's disappointing to see just how different people treat you. Because I didn't grow up with money. And I definitely, walk into a bank where you barely have any cash and just the difference in how you're treated by some people. Not everybody's like that, but by some people. Versus when you have money. It's a little discouraging. It's good though. I'm glad that I grew up the way I did and I experienced life the way I did, because then I know more about how people, even the middle, like people think like the rich people are the ones that treat you bad, but the people in the middle will treat you really bad. Like when I was going to college and cleaning toilets, like people just make all sorts of assumptions about you when you're a janitor. Like a lot of them would assume I didn't speak English. They were shocked when I spoke English. And you could watch them be shocked and then watch them try to, adjust their behavior by, when they thought that you were just another person that didn't speak English and was cleaning toilets to, oh, this, person is articulate. I'll, be a bit more mindful. It was a bummer. And it's just interesting to see. And especially like when I started working and wearing suits, like watching the way people treat you differently when you're in a suit versus a t-shirt and jeans. It's fascinating. You never want a suit around. Just I'm not talking about like a suit for like prom or a suit for like a wedding, but just a regular business suit, and watch how people treat you. The fascinating side was like when I worked at the mall. If you walk in the back halls and you're in a t-shirt, security will ask you, like stop you, be like, hey, like where you going? Like they'll take more interest in you. You put on a suit and walk in those back halls, nobody bothers you. Nobody cares. They'll open up doors for you and never say a single thing. They don't know you. I'd be going to a mall, like the first time I worked at that mall, wearing a suit, and everyone just opens up everything for you. It's weird. It's unfortunate. Nope. All right, well, down to the 40s. I go down to the 30s. I was hoping I could squeeze out another good set, but no. I'm not going to do a bunch of hip thrusters. Go down to 30 pounds. It's definitely interesting watching and knowing how people get treated. The funny part was like working in a casino where you would have people that would be dressed nice and would want to be treated well and better than everyone else, and they would think that they were like top notch. And you're like, oh buddy, like you have no idea. And you're like the guy that is over there. Like there was a couple times where people would complain about someone that was playing next to them because they were disheveled and maybe they smelled a little bad. And like, you know, we want to play that game, or can you have that person leave? And it's like, oh, like I know you really think that you have a lot of money, but that guy right there is like playing, you know, is into this casino for hundreds of thousands of dollars. I couldn't ask him to, you know, do anything. The casino would never let me bother that guy for you, for anybody. You know, you'd have to be Bill Gates before they would say anything to that guy. But it was interesting how people like in America we talk about like not judging books by their cover all the time. We talk about there's all these cautionary tales, and there's always been cautionary tales. The Greeks had like the tales where the gods would be walking around dressed like humans. But some people just never sinks in. It's just so weird. I was like it's funny is people will watch movies with classic like villains, like say like Mean Girls, for instance. Everybody knows like the bratty girls in the movie Mean Girls and the snobs, and they see those behaviors. Or they'll watch a movie like Good Will Hunting and they'll see the snobby guy at the bar in Good Will Hunting, and you think they would take like, thank you for the thumbs up. They would take like the hint, like, hey, don't grow up to be these people. So we all watch those movies. None of us wanted to be the bad person, but people grow up and they'll just be that person, and they won't even necessarily realize it. let's like self-reflect on who you are in this moment and who you're being, just a little bit. There's a guy I got in an argument on Facebook with, and he tried to overpower everyone in the conversation with his vocabulary. And I was like, buddy, like, we can all talk like that. We're not using an extensive vocabulary because we're choosing to speak in a more simplified way on purpose, like how we enjoy talking. But for you to come in here and try to overpower us, I told him the same thing. I was like, man, do you realize that you've grown up to be the guy in Good Will Hunting with the ponytail? That's you. And then he got really upset about it. He didn't like being called out for being the bad guy in Good Will Hunting. And then it was funny because after I called him out for being the bad guy from Good Will Hunting and made the comparison, he got really upset. And he was like, oh, like, you're only saying this stuff because there's a screen between us. You wouldn't say this to me like in person. And I was like, oh no, absolutely I would. And if you want to call me out, dude, let's meet up. Like, where are you at? And he was like in the Midwest, but he was from the town that I was in. And I was like, look, Thanksgiving's next week. Christmas is soon after. If you're going to be in town to see your relatives, we can make this happen. Like, if you want to fight, if you want to call me out like that, absolutely, let's do this. And then he like didn't even respond. And I told him, I was like, look, it sounds like you're regretting what you said by your lack of response. So if you want, like, you can go ahead and delete your last comments, and I'll take that as an apology and we'll let it go. And they deleted their comments. So it was like, you're such a loser, man. You talk down to everybody. You accuse people of not being able to back up what they say, hoping that they don't call you out. Just the perfect 80s, 90s era movie villain. And they just completely oblivious. That's how they're living their lives. Maybe it's because I saw The Breakfast Club when I was younger. I feel like The Breakfast Club did a great job of educating people in concerning like the way high school can go and the personas it can cause you to adopt, and how you may mistreat people that you have a lot in common with. That was a good movie. And it's funny is like, I know the language isn't great and some of the content, what cracks me up is like, that's a college or a high school level, it's what high school is like for a lot of people. And if you go to high school, there's nothing that's being said in that movie that's shocking that you don't hear when you're in school. But I think it's a good illustration of people adopting personas, treating other people badly based off of those personas. And I was fortunate enough that like elementary school was really rough with me. In middle school, I had adopted a persona that I didn't really like being, but kind of just got embroiled in it. And then in 8th grade, realized like I don't want to be that person. I'm never doing that again. I'm not going to be someone other than who I am. And for me, it was just about survival in middle school and fighting. So, but just after that, I was like, nope, I'm done. And it was weird going to high school and seeing people still embroiled in these like weird personas that they adopted and not being who they really were. That's one thing I really want to explain to my kids before they make that mistake of trying to conform. That you can just, man, I want to teach them how not to conform, but also how to get other people to abandon their, the way their conformities. Get people to come out of those shells. Well, we'll see. I don't know by the time my kids are in high school what high school will even be like, how people will communicate. Got quite a few years before that happens. I just hope all my kids are more secure in who they are than I was. And I think it'll be better for them. I was always the smallest in school and the youngest. It's my birthday. Put me in that spot. So with my kids, they will be the oldest kids in the class and usually on the bigger side. Right now, they're bigger than most people their age or that they're going to school with. So it should be easier. Being tiny compared to everyone else is a rough rough start. All right, 6. All right, that's it for today, guys. That's gonna close out my workout week. It was a fun week. Hope you guys have a good weekend. Thanks for coming by. Just kind of like we're talking about. Thanks for thumbs up. Kind of like we were talking about, though. You know, it's always good to examine your life, especially if you're younger, and see if you're that person adopting a persona that isn't necessary, and two, making sure that you treat everyone equally. Like, don't be the person that treats the janitor bad. When you go use the public bathroom or the bathroom at your work and there's some guy cleaning the toilets or girl, like, say hi. Like, acknowledge them. Acknowledge that there's a person there. You know, exchange simple pleasantries. Even if you don't think they speak English, like, be nice. Because, you know, you'll regret being the person that gets called out for being rude or disrespectful to a janitor. You know, don't fawn over the guy that's in the suit over the blue collar worker. It's not a great way to be. All right, thank you so much. God bless you guys. Pardon me for sounding preachy in the end there, but I think it's important. Yesterday at the bank, it really bothered me thinking back to how I was treated when I didn't have money versus when I have money, and it's not a great way for people to be. Thank you.